Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
And we're live here in studio with Palm City Charlie is in the house, and our youth and government student is with us as well. She is on the phone. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I had a very good night's sleep, but today during volunteering, it was very tiring. I had a long day. Actually, tomorrow is my last day of volunteering at this camp, so yeah, it's been a fun ride.
Good. Okay, good. I'm gonna try to put you. I got another call coming in. I'm gonna see if I can conference your call. So in the meantime, I'm gonna toss it to Charlie, and we'll.
Well, how are you, young lady? How's you're heading for college?
I'm going to be a sophomore next year.
Wow, that's great. What IRSC, Indian River State College?
No, I'm in high school.
Oh, a sophomore in high school. You sound so mature.
Thank you.
Because I've been hearing you on the radio. I follow Frank. I'm his groupie.
Yeah. Okay. So Charlie, hang on.
Great.
I'm gonna try to put her call on hold, and then,
Okay.
all right, conference the other call. All right. So I'm gonna put you on hold, and we'll answer this call. Oh, I dropped her.
Uh-oh.
All right. So Jessica, you're gonna have to call us back. All right, Bob, you there?
Hey, Frank. How you doing, buddy?
All right. Well, so I kicked my student off the air by accident. So
Oh.
I
What'd
love
you
this.
do for?
I love this phone. Oh my God.
What
Anyways,
kind of phone you got?
if she rings me up, then I'll
It's an old phone, Bob.
It's I came over on the Mayflower, so it's
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 got one
vintage.
of those dials. You bring it up on the side. It's hanging on the wall.
it's
When you coming home, son? Remember him, Sergeant York?
I still don't know how to use 1/10 of it, not even close to that of my smartphone. I don't. I told you, my granddaughter made me get my first smartphone. She says, "You're my only grandparent that still has a dumb phone."
Well, I miss my flip phone, frankly.
All right. So I'm going to try one more time. See, I really shouldn't be doing this on air. I should try to figure this out off air. But anyways, so I got the call. I got your call button conferenced. I might try to put your call on hold. And then when Jamie calls in, then
she's tired though.
yeah, well, no, but she's young. They bounce back quickly, right? So
Whatever you got to do, I'm here for you.
All right, well, thanks, buddy. So here she is. Okay, so it's ringing. I'm gonna put your call on hold, see if that works. I don't know.
Good with me.
I got conference. So let's see if maybe I just push this. Hey, look at that. Are we both on the air?
Jamie,
I
you
can
there?
hear you.
Jamie, are you there?
Jamie's there.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Wow, four of
Ooh.
us now.
Woo.
It's going to be a crowded room.
It's a crowded room. So,
With that Green Acres phone.
oh my God, right? Okay. So let's talk about what's going on in the world. I understand our president has COVID.
Chinese virus.
He has the Chinese virus. So
double shotted and double boosted.
right. Yeah, but mild symptoms.
Scratchy throat.
Right, which is the what they say the symptoms of the latest variant is.
Maybe this will clear his brain. Who knows?
Yeah, that'll do it.
You never know. Yeah.
If the fog will
But he's
lift,
responding well to the medication.
the
So
fog will lift.
yes, there you go. So that
Yep. 2 hours ago,
I
it
have
started
a
doing great.
bad feeling that they might be just telling him he has it. Maybe Fauci's his doctor that's saying he has it just to get him off the TV
Well,
because
Fauci has it also, Bob.
Fauci has it too. Well,
Yeah,
maybe
they've been hanging out together.
well, I understand Fauci resigned too. From
No,
his, he
but
didn't.
he's will before
Oh,
he gets into more trouble.
oh, that's a good plan.
I
Yeah.
think he's trying to get away from Rand Paul.
Right. Rand Paul has given him the what for.
he said he's going to resign before his last term.
So I'm sorry, Jamie, you tried to say something earlier.
I said, Joe Biden reportedly doing great. Is
Good.
what that was 2 hours ago.
Okay, now, and you sent me a link that was from the BBC.com, the Science and Environment. So what does that what's going on there?
So, in the UK, I'm pretty sure scientists created a telescope called, I think it's called, it's a mouthful. It's the Gravitational Wave Optical Transit Observer. Say that 10 times fast.
Okay,
So
you know what gravitational waves are, right?
Yes.
So for our listening audience, gravitational waves was mathematically conjectured, but they finally proved it. And what it is when a large body moves through space, it actually leaves the equivalent of a wake, just like if you were to float a ball in a pool.
Going through water.
Right. And so it leaves a wake. And that's so we see that as a gravitational wave. And they could mathematically plot that. So they found a device that could actually look at that, right?
Yeah, they built it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So yeah, they detected a neutron star, which is a dead star that collapsed under its own weight.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much energy in that it left a rippling effect, is what this does, the gravitational waves. And it sends
from the implosion, basically it kind of implodes somewhat, or when the neutron star
just collapse. Yeah.
Right.
So it creates a large flash of light and a powerful shock wave rippling across the universe. We can detect it. We can't feel it because it's not strong enough for us to feel it when we're not close enough. But sent out throughout the universe, and the astronomers, and this is very interesting or very cool because the astronomers actually built it so now they can detect it and try to find it instead of just accidentally running into it. So kind of like the future of technology and not waiting for something to happen, but finding something to happen.
Oh, okay. All right. So being a little more proactive, it's like now they know where it's coming from and what it is, and then they can better understand the essence of what a gravitational wave is, I suspect. So that's pretty cool.
Yes. Now, so they tried to detect the beam of light in like 2 days, very fast, like one day, a couple hours, because it doesn't last for that long. So with this device, it's very much more efficient than finding it. So yeah.
Well, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your. Do you have any other science? Was that your science report?
I think that is my science report.
Okay. Very good. All right. So we can move on. So there's some interesting things going on in the news. One of the things the CIA chief says that that Putin, that's Vladimir Putin, is entirely too healthy. Now, do you know what that means, Charlie?
Too healthy?
Entirely too healthy.
In other words, he's too heavy?
No, entirely
gaining
too
weight?
healthy. I think that they're saying that for a man of his age, we all have ailments, and so perhaps he's so healthy that he really isn't. That it's underreported. In other words,
his face was swollen recently, and at one point, people thought he was ill.
Yes, right. And so there was a lot of conjecture about that, exactly. And so that's why the CIA chief is saying that he's entirely too healthy. That means there's something's up.
Well, they
Yeah,
enjoy
or they
their
suspect.
vodka. They enjoy their
I've heard
Russian
rumors.
vodka.
Yeah. I've heard rumors about that. So that's interesting. So I've got an interesting little piece I want to play from MSNBC anchor talking about how the news people cover the news, and she makes an interesting comment. Well, I almost wanted to use the word revelation, but really,
No, it's not a revelation.
No, but let's hear what the MSNBC anchor Katie Tur says right here.
Me wonder if this job, as I'm currently doing it, is effective, but if it's doing more harm than good.
Interesting comment there. That's the MSNBC.
Whoops. Okay. So that's the essence of that is she's questioning whether or not
They take the Democrats' side mostly.
right. So yeah. So they're like become a political arm of the Democratic Party.
Right, DNC.
Mm-hmm. And so I think they're kind of feeling a little heat from now. They're having to backtrack about all the things that they said that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation. It wasn't true, and turns out they said later, oh well, maybe it was true. So it seems like everything that came out that was news was before the election was tamped down and wasn't reported for news. So what do you think about that, Jamie? Do you think the news organizations have a duty to properly just report the news rather than try to slant the news for a political objective? What are your thoughts?
I'm not too sure.
I can hardly hear Jamie.
On how to answer that because I don't know.
Well, you like your friends telling the truth, right? You like your buddies telling the straight truth as opposed to spinning it so that makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Can you hear me, Frank?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
to a certain
said
point.
for years, and a lot of people have before
Because,
all this.
Wait a minute, Bob. Stand by, Bob. Go ahead.
It's more what the
Because-
media doesn't say.
I mean,
and we
saying
could
too
see
much
that years ago,
could
decades
cause
ago.
panic and
It's
just
more. They're like Pravda
Now,
for the United States.
Bob.
Relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie's going to talk.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. Stand by, Bob. Okay. Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead. So basically, what we're trying to talk about here, Jamie, is the news organizations are supposedly. Charlie, Bob, and I remember there was a guy by the name of Walter Cronkite on CBS would do the evening news, and he was a liberal individual politically, although you would never know it when he gave you the news because he just gave you the straight news. These are the facts. These are what happened on the ground today. These are the things that were going on in our world. And
that's the way it was.
And that's the right. And you didn't know what his political affiliation was because he made it a point to just give an unvarnished view as much as he could. So if something happens in the news business, if something happens, or you get a report of a breaking event, or breaking news, you want to, before you report it, you want to go ahead and validate it, verify it, and vet it, and make sure that information is valid before it's brought out there. But anymore today, the news is really more an entertainment media than fact gathering. And So what this MSNBC anchor is saying is that because they were really working as a filter for left-leaning, left-leaning politicians, they were really kind of what the sports analogy would be, carrying the water, right? So they were just kind of, kind of helping them out, as opposed to just reporting the facts as they knew it. So now she's got buyer's remorse. Right.
Mhm.
So do you understand that? So do you have a different feel about what we're talking about now? So the question, so bringing the question back to you, if when you go to watch the news, how do you expect that information to be presented? Do you expect it to be just unvarnished fact, or do you want it to be somebody's opinion?
I don't want somebody's opinion. I just want straight facts and just blatantly, like say it, because I mean, I don't understand why people would try to like sugarcoat it and stuff and or like bias. I don't really. I mean, yes, it's helping someone. Yeah, I just want facts.
That's not their job to help people. It's just to report the news, right? So.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Okay.
So let me throw in that's why that in newspapers they have the editorial page, and then the rest of the paper is supposed to be the straight news.
Right. So if you wanted to read somebody's opinion, you turn to the editorial page,
and then you also the people had their own little pieces there too.
Right.
In some newspapers.
Right. So I would direct you, Jamie, in your spare time. There's a online newspaper called Town Hall, and you go to townhall.com, and there's these very good writers that write these little, and they're brief stories, but they're brief stories about the news of the day, and it gives you, but they admit their bias, and they write a story explaining other people's positions and their positions and why, and that is kind of editorializing, but it gives you at least gives you an understanding of where they're coming from, and at least you understand where you're reading. It's not a news paper. It is columns written by columnists that are postulating their thoughts. And want you to give some weight to some of those things they're talking about. So interesting things going on there. So
the New York Times used to be like kind of the real news, like the real facts, but now
has from
kind
Palm
of
Beach
more
has gotten a little bit better. They're part of that national.
Jamie, hang on, let Bob. Okay, go ahead, Bob. We got a couple minutes.
Have you noticed CBS News has gotten a little better with them? Now they have in the morning and at night, they have the national desk, which is a lot better than anything on ABC or NBC. So I give CBS some credit for that. This national desk, they do a lot of fact checking. They have fact checking people, and they have this comes from 4,000 reporters, they say, all over the country, all their information. And so they've gotten a little better at that part. But these people, all they do is read the script anymore. The old days, the newscasters did their own research. They had their own stories. Now they're just reading from a prompter like Biden.
Right.
And, it's not what they say. It's what they don't say most of the time.
Right.
And they become, our media and our school system is why the Democrats feel so free to tell lies, because they know that they're backed up by, what they're trying to teach our young people, and the fact that, they can get away with whatever they say. Biden can just lie all day because they're so used to having the media on their side covering for them that it's just become, mundane to them that this is the way it goes.
Right. It's just like an extra fighter in the corner for you. But so here's a story for another story we could talk about. This is kind of interesting. This is kind of a human interest story. I suspect this is 22-hour-old story. This takes place in Michigan. A Michigan woman sues a man for standing her up on a date, and then she gets into an argument with the judge. So a Michigan woman sued a man for standing her up on a 2020 date and got into an argument with the judge, hearing her case according to local reports. So the headline is, "I should have swiped left." So, on the dating website. So, but yeah, so apparently she was a handful, and that's probably why the guy stood her up, I suspect.
Did you hear about the recent story of a woman driving in the HOV lane?
Yeah, she was pregnant.
Pregnant.
Yeah. Did you hear
Pulled
this
over by
story?
a cop?
Yeah.
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good story. Go ahead.
So she was pulled over by a cop, and the cop's writing her out a ticket, and she points to her belly. She says, "I'm pregnant."
Yeah.
He gives her the ticket anyway, but she would win if she takes it to court, and I
Yeah.
hope she does.
Yeah, she probably will, because her argument was, and of course,
It's a legal person.
you know as well as I that the argument is when when somebody's pregnant and you go out to dinner, they'll say, "Oh, I'm eating for two."
Things like that.
Yeah,
but,
but there's
but if you murder a
but
pregnant person, it's two deaths.
right. But I mean, even in just casual conversation, there's always the mention of the second
Yeah.
individual. So
That baby's kicking.
yeah, it's still kicking. So but yeah, so that'll be interesting. So maybe she can, when she
Oh, I love
deliver.
it.
Well, I
love
would
it.
love to see her deliver and then take the baby to court and say, "Okay, here's my evidence."
Well, she's
You
got
know?
the evidence, or she got to show the sonogram or
Right.
whatever.
That's true too. But anyways, so but that's kind of a funny little piece of human interest story about some of the wacky things that go on. Right.
Well, that goes up against abortion, Frank, because the
Yeah.
pro-abortion people that want up to birth abortions,
That's good
they
though.
don't even consider
Right.
that a
Good.
person in the HOV lane.
Right. Yeah. So go ahead, Jamie. What was that? You said that too,
That's-
right?
That's a fair argument. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, because yeah, if it's a life worth saving, and it's if you consider abortion taking of a life, then obviously it's a human life. So there it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm. Okay. Well, we're going to.
Oh, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
We're gonna, yeah. Let's see if we can get Rocky and Bullwinkle, cue them up, see what they're up to. All right, and and if that works out, we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
One minute. And we are back. Want to remind you and all our listeners that today's show is brought to you by Sailfish Roofing, a community roofing company that you can count on.
Great guy.
Right here in Stuart Martin County, and they do a great job. And we're looking forward to them continuing to help us out, bringing you great programming such as Treasure Coast Forum. And so, yeah, we're in the middle of in the beginning of hurricane season. And so this is a perfect opportunity. If you think you might have so it may just be a leaky gutter, but you're not sure what's going on. You got water dripping somewhere, and maybe you see a stain on your ceiling. Give them a call, right? They'll come out. They'll give you an honest evaluation. Maybe it's something that can be easily remedied. But whatever it is, before we get a weather event, this is a good opportunity to be proactive rather than reactive. We're trying to find a roofer after an event is like trying to find hen's teeth, right? So
I had my roof walked, and they found a screw that was backed out.
Mm-hmm.
They
reattached
it and so forth. It's good to maintain your roof.
Yeah, very good.
Frank, I lost my house in '04. You might remember.
Yeah.
After the two storms, and I had one of the only frame houses in Club Med, Sandpiper area in Port St. Lucie. And apparently they were allowed to staple roofs in at that time.
Right.
Apparently they used, whoever did the roofing before I bought the place, they used too much air pressure for the staples. So my roof
pushed the staples right through the
felt.
Basically, the only thing holding my roof on for years was just the tar.
Right, melted.
The tar on the bottom. So when those storms came, the first one, my roof shingles were all over my neighborhood, and my neighbors, some were laughing, they're joking. Some were complaining that my roof shingles were all over the whole neighborhood.
Right.
And I actually lost the house because it was a frame house. The ceilings collapsed. I wasn't in town. I was in Miami. And it went into all the walls, and the ceilings collapsed all in the whole entire house.
Wow.
And so they let them do those staples, and apparently didn't check that they went too far with it. And so you gotta have a good roof. And now these insurance companies, a lot of them, from what I hear, they're going after a lot of people saying, if you don't replace your roof, we're dropping you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything? Did you have any other news items that you want to talk about?
Who's that?
The young lady.
Yes. It's my phone.
Did you lose her?
Yeah, Jamie, you're there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have anything else that you want to chat about? Anything that came up in this past week's events? We had
how about your telescope?
Yeah, the telescope, James Webb. There was some interesting things going on with that. There was also an asteroid that came zipping on by again, I think on the 17th, just the other day. So those are always interesting, especially when you hear about it after the fact. They go, yeah, that was kind of a near miss. Yikes. Interesting things going on with the science in that way. One of the most interesting things that I was heard about, I think it was in yesterday's news or the day before, the Russian cosmonauts are going to swap seats with an American astronaut. So we're going to take a Russian up on the Dragon space capsule with SpaceX. And then the Russians are going to take up one of our astronauts on their Soyuz coming up to the space station. That was announced and signed by the Roscosmos director, and who immediately resigned after signing the paperwork. So
maybe
I'm not too sure what's going to happen.
Vlad wasn't too happy.
I don't know, but he's so that's kind of an interesting thing. NASA released some James Webb images of the planet Jupiter. Just amazing images. Jamie, I'm sure you've seen that, right?
I have not seen that actually, but
Wow.
I've seen something on the telescope.
Right.
Actually, I've not seen that. When did that? Come out?
That was just the other day. Yeah, just the other day. So that was on July 15th. So that was about almost a week ago, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Oh yes, yes.
yeah. So that's pretty
Incredible full potential. That's what they call it.
right.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting pictures. Also, the sun. This was kind of weird. The sun burped out it's like a cosmic string of some sort of weird energy string, and
Maybe
so
that's why we're so hot.
but they say there could be the aurora that you see. Normally it's to the northern
Yeah,
latitudes.
Northern Lights.
You'll actually see that all the way as far south as the UP of Michigan.
Oh wow! So we can't see it here.
No,
Bummer.
no. But if you if you can see it here, you won't be able to talk on the phone because it'll disrupt all the communication satellites too. So, search of ancient life on Mars. We found one of the interesting things recently is we found we had a piece of Martian rock that came here as a meteorite, right? So it survived an impact here with Earth, and they actually found the original crater on Mars where that rock came from.
Oh my Lord!
Can you believe that?
Wow!
How amazing is that?
Sherlock Holmes of the space.
You're lost for words, right?
Oh my God!
So
I saw a show yesterday where they said all of the iron and all the metal on Earth is because of collisions.
Really? No, that's something I didn't know that. But of course, the one of the things that I did know is that our molten core is not perfectly symmetrical, and so that's why the Earth maybe wobbles a little bit. Yeah, yeah, and it affects the change of gravity and things of that sort. So that's pretty wild too. Yeah, so that's pretty amazing stuff. So a little piece of Washington State blasted into space. So yeah, they're doing a lot of rideshare things. I know SpaceX has been busy. They're putting up a couple more of their satellites for communications, and they did have a problem. I don't know if did you hear about the little mini explosion they had when they were testing the rocket over in Texas?
I did hear about.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
So that was pretty weird. There was a little bit of
There was a leak.
I think it was yes. So I think a gas leak of some sort, and they're tested. So there's 31 engines, I believe, underneath this rocket, and you got a fully fueled rocket, and so there was this flash and boom, but fortunately the thing didn't blow up. It was just the gas they found an ignition source, and the gas ignited, but everything else within the rocket stayed stable. But there was some damage, some slight damage. So I guess they're taking it and putting it in the high bay, which is their construction area, and they're going to do some inspection of all the engines and things of that sort. So they were originally thinking about doing a late July launch of this. This is supposed to be kind of like it was originally going to be suborbital. Then they said, well, maybe it'll be orbital, and they were actually going to use it to deliver the brand new satellites for SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're too big to fit into the Dragon nose cone.
They dropped a bunch of Starlinks today or something.
Right.
Little
yes.
ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Low altitude.
The CubeSats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do that too. And they do a lot of ride shares. So so here's the article on the oldest meteorite. See if I can pull that up here. Close. Oh, here we go. Yes, scientists announced Tuesday that they found a crater from which the oldest known Martian meteorite was originally blasted off towards Earth, a discovery that could provide clues on how our own planet was formed. The meteorite, nicknamed Black Beauty, fascinated geologists since it was discovered in the Sahara Desert in 2011. So it's just been laying out there in the desert.
That's
But
something.
blasted from Mars, floating through, our solar system, and survived and landed on Earth. And I understand there are pieces of Earth that you can probably find on Mars the same way from earlier, impacts from meteors and such. So that's kind of a head scratching thing.
Very interesting.
Right? So there are some scientists that actually think that life as we know it may have actually come from Mars if we can prove that life did exist originally on Mars.
Well, all those hieroglyphics,
Yeah.
it looks like
Well,
spaceships
Well,
and
there you go.
space guys and all of
It
that.
could be, but sometimes just, you can actually have just microbial life that would survive in space and then find its way to Earth and then
Develop.
flourish. Yeah. So, wow.
So what about Adam and Eve? Come
Well,
on, Frank.
Well, what about it? I mean, yeah.
Bob
So,
enjoyed that one.
yes.
These shows scare me lately about meteorites hitting the Earth and all that. It's
I'd
almost
watch
like
out,
show
Bob.
when you watch it.
I'd wear a helmet, Bob.
Wear a helmet.
I know it's like I changed the channels. Like I don't want to hear about it. We're having enough trouble with Biden and the Democrats. I'm not worried about that. One thing I heard was today, in fact, the guy was talking about Buttigieg and all this green stuff, and he says, our temperature since the beginning of 1900,
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
it's only gone up 1 degree.
I found some interesting news that
Okay.
divers in, I think it was, what is it? European Institute for Underwater Archaeology, okay, found a shipwreck full of basically like kind of treasure and just Greek remains from the, I'm going to butcher this, but Ptolemaic period
Okay.
during Egyptian French archaeological mission. They found remains, right, dating back from the 4th century BC. Just thinking about that is mind-boggling because we've only discovered like 5% of the 5% of the waters on our planet, which makes up 75% of the planet, and it's absolutely insane. I feel like I can't even imagine
Right.
how much is undiscovered and what this discoveries could tell us about how we developed and just
How people lived back then too. We learned so
Yeah.
much about how people lived and what they valued, things that they valued.
I've been to
Yeah,
Pompeii.
so
That's
we're
interesting.
seeing-
Well, Pompeii.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow. That was oof. That was a hair-raising experience.
I've been
right?
there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We'll tell you later.
Yeah. Wow.
This way to McDonald's,
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
about that.
All right. So
Just thinking about
go
just
ahead.
thinking about how we're like kind of adventuring out to see space and time travel, whatever, but just we have pretty much a lot of materials here on Earth that we just can't discover yet.
Oh,
Kinda
there's
like-
a lot to look at.
That's so true. So true. And but isn't it fascinating? Is as long as we can tell through our written history, people have been looking up at the sky, at the stars,
Yeah.
since man started, crawling around on this rock that we call Earth, and wondering how we got here. That question has been, part of our existence, right? So it's a question that we always want to answer, and I think that's probably largely why we strive to go to space, to try to figure out how did those stars get there, why are they there, why are we here, how did we get here, and it could go back to Adam and Eve, but we don't know, and we want to learn more, and it's fascinating stuff. It sure is. Well,
Yeah.
Well, we've got we want to take our
Take another break.
Yeah, it's our last break, and then we'll be right back. Just a 2-minute timeout, so stick with us. We'll be right back. We are back. You're listening to the Treasure Coast Forum, and I'm Frank. I'm joined by Palm City Charlie. Bob is on the line, and we've got our high school student from South Fork. Introduce yourself. Jamie.
You there, Jamie?
Jamie, are you there? Jamie Paulson is here, I think, on the phone. Maybe.
Maybe she took a break.
Well, her line is open, so she's here somewhere in spirit. So the Dems, according to the political page here on Fox News channel, the Dems slam Lucy Manchin for blocking.
Yeah, Joe Manchin.
Yeah. They call him Lucy, for blocking climate legislation, but don't want to kick him out of the party.
Well, he's very intelligent. Thank the Lord for him.
Yes. So interesting guy. He wields a lot of power right now because he is like the deciding vote.
He's the finger in the dike, so to speak.
Yeah, right. So, anyways,
I mean, if we'll spend a lot of money, and that'll really help. Inflation. Oh, that's good,
right? Ivana Trump passed away, and she was laid to rest in New York City funeral. President Trump and his family was in attendance. That was, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah, 73 years old.
Yeah, she fell. So a fall accident, those are never good. What
a shame.
Yeah. And a company tied to China purchases farmland near a U.S. base, sparking spying fears.
That shouldn't be allowed. We should not be selling our America to
foreign
particularly,
country,
a country like that.
Ones,
no way.
Yeah, so that's pretty suspicious.
Oh, and Bill Gates is buying up farmland. I don't understand.
He's the largest farmland owner in the U.S.
I think he's trying to stop the cows from the methane gas.
Oh, well,
that's come on.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
We could stop it. Filet mignon.
Yeah.
I prefer ribeye, personally.
Right, Bob? Are you there? No.
Bob dropped off.
Wow.
We're alone now.
Yeah, the line's open, but they're not here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wait a minute. Are you guys there?
I'm here.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Hi,
Yeah.
Bob.
Okay, Jamie, I'm sorry. We couldn't hear you. I didn't have
Frank wasn't working the board properly. I'm
Yeah.
ratting him out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I told you, he's got that Green Acres
I think that
phone
he's done
system
enough.
over there. Got to
He's done
clean
a
up
lot today.
the pole outside the barn to get.
Right? I got to climb the pole and do all that. Yeah.
And
So,
talking about farmlands, you remember when Pelosi, because of the minnows in the San Francisco Bay where the water came in for the breadlands, she shut it all off because of the minnows.
oh,
Small-minded people.
yeah, right.
How about Pelosi now with her husband investing all this money?
Paul Pelosi with chips.
Yeah, and they said that a lot of people, his friends and whatnot, and people follow actually what he invests in because they know he's getting inside information.
Yep.
So,
And we've been talking about this for years. What about the Federal Reserve? They would come out and say, well, we may raise the interest rates, and they know damn well if they are, they're not going to in the times when they weren't so bad.
right.
And then how many people that they know and they go out and they buy things cheap, and then they say, no, we're not going to raise it, and then they sell it high.
Right. Right.
It just, but getting back to Pelosi, another thing, at one time, they were having a vote on raising the minimum wage. And Pelosi and her husband apparently owned a lot of tuna canning place in America Samoa.
Yes.
And one of Nancy's friends there on the Hill, she didn't want to do it. He put in at the last minute in these thousands of pages that nobody reads that America Samoa was exempt. And he did this apparently for Pelosi and her husband for the tuna canning plate. And they were actually exempt from what they were going to vote on.
Wow.
Right. Well, it was an extra payroll. It would have been an extra payroll expense for their family, so that they were able to skate that expense. Yeah, I'm aware of that particular case.
Doesn't her family own Starkist?
Probably.
I don't know which one, but it's getting scary what's going on in D.C. I mean, everybody's tired of D.C. right now.
So I got a brief little snippet here I wanted to play from Fox News about Dave Chappelle. You guys know who he is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about this.
Do you know who he is?
Yep. Yeah, it was the funniest thing he ever did was the black guy that was blind that was in the KKK and didn't know he was black. Did you see that one?
There we go. All right.
At yourself, at all different kinds of groups, has been part of comedy since the beginning of comedy. And I want to read the rest of the statement that you talk about. To our staff, artists, and community, we hear you and we are very sorry. This is the message from First Avenue. We know we must hold ourselves to the highest standards and we never let you down. We are not just a black box with people in it. We understand that First Avenue is not just a room, but meaningful beyond our walls. So I'm just, wondering what comedian is going to be.
Yeah. So apparently, the upshot is, I guess they canceled. So Dave Chappelle is
booked another place already.
Yeah,
he's
but
booked.
he got canceled because they didn't like his message.
Right. But he already booked another
Yes.
show some other place. So
Right. Yeah.
He's very
it's
popular.
It's sad. It's
Well, years ago, Jerry Seinfeld said, I will not do another college campus comedy tour.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
He said they can't take a joke anymore, these people. They're just so woke. That
Look at like Archie Bunker, Red Fox. I mean, people have no sense of humor anymore.
Right.
I know.
Because they've lost their common sense.
No, it's getting out of hand. And like we were talking with the media, I was talking about that Liz Carrantes years ago, or a while back. For years, she was just reading the Democrat script, and now she does these commercials that flood them all the time. Where we're digging deep, and it's so hard to find the truth these days. And I'm thinking, come on, Liz, you were reading the Democrat talking points off the prompter for decades.
Yeah.
Now you're telling us you're digging deep to get the truth and all that. I don't buy it.
Yeah. Well, so it's the same thing like the Biden administration with the baby formula. They knew there was a problem back back in February. And so when it got reported, in June?
Yeah.
And now these mom and dads are scrambling around the country trying to find baby formula.
Crazy.
And they said, well, we've been working on it. Well, exactly
Who?
Yeah,
Who?
who's the we?
Kamala, probably.
Well, yeah, they got her. They got her on it. So what a mess! What
Yeah.
a mess! But it's
Well, that's what people are talking about. That the Democrats, they're almost like the Soviets. They pick a partner, like that one plant that was making 67% of the formula. They get the Whig contract, and that's why this company had another issue, I think today or yesterday, and they're just kissing DC's butt because they have that Whig program, where you get free formula and all that. So they're going to do, they're not mad. They're not going to get mad at DC and the Democrats. No, they're going to kiss their butt because they're getting the contract. And, that's what they were saying. The Soviets and those people, they pick their companies and that's it.
right. All right, you got any closing thoughts, Jamie? But you'll be here in studio next week, right?
I will swim and I will tell my brother
That's
to
the
drop
way it
me off.
was.
All
Walker
right.
Phone Call.
Okay, we'll make it happen. We'll figure a way. We'll hire you an Uber, something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe an elephant.
Maybe Uber Eats so that you can get fed along the way.
Maybe a Ringling Brothers elephant.
Why not? Take a little
Okay.
snack along the
There
way.
you go. All right, Bob and Palm City Charlie, thank you very much. Jamie, thank you. And we'll be back again
Have a
next
good
week,
evening.
right
And
here
that's the way
on
it
Treasure
was.
Coast Forum.
Walker Phone Call.
Well, that was fun.